Hey everybody, how's it going? We are here with a timeless reading. The first card that we have out is Six of Pentacles, and we also have the Lovers. Six of Pentacles and the Lovers feels like a balance that you have with someone just isolated from everything else. Six of Pentacles is usually like an exchange that we have. If you look at this, you can see the scales in the picture of sort of like what everybody is getting and wanting that to be balanced rather than feeling like I'm giving too much or taking too much. This is about having that balance where everybody feels like there's equality within the connection. And because we have the Lovers here, this is seen within a partnership. So this can be something like you do this part and I do that part, and it feels like there's sort of that back and forth where everybody feels like they're contributing something, and then there's that, it's a feeling of things working within the dynamic too, rather than being like, I feel like I'm stuck with all the work and that person isn't doing anything. Having Six of Pentacles is more this feeling of I'm doing my part and they're doing their part. So it will feel like things can sort of keep going because it's working in that way. The next card though that we have out is Seven of Swords, and this is something that can potentially be coming through and impacting that. Let's see how. Can we get more about Seven of Swords? Seven of Swords would be something I feel like that would throw off this dynamic. Kind of feels like a troublemaking energy to me here. Interesting. It's being clarified by a card called Liberation, which is connected with the Judgment card, which is connected with Pluto. Maybe this is something about wanting to control or something having some type of influence here. Let's see further. There can be something within you that maybe is communicating something with you, but the way that it's coming up can be maybe not a way that you'd want to do things. Like as far as what the Seven of Swords would be trying to accomplish, the message of what that energy would try to accomplish, that can be something where you can gain insight. But as far as doing it in that way or acting on things in that way, it may not be best suited for you. It can be too an underhanded way of dealing with things as well. You can say maybe something needs to be dealt with at the same time. It can be an underhanded way of dealing with things. If this is not your energy, you can feel like you had a good thing going here, but having Seven of Swords can be an energy coming through and an energy that's surfacing that can disrupt that dynamic. For some reason, I feel like, is everything like actually fine within the Six of Pentacles and the Lovers, or is something else going on? Like, where is this Seven of Swords coming from? Because it almost feels like if things are good within the relationship and there's this feeling of like everybody doing their part and things working well together, like why is the Seven of Swords coming up? Like where is this coming from? How come it's getting involved in this? If things are working like this with Six of Pentacles and the Lovers, which even feels like a unit by itself, a a self-sustaining unit that we have there. Seven of Swords feels like this thing that's coming up to disturb this, which I don't really understand like where this energy is coming from exactly. And then after that energy arrives, I'm seeing us move quickly into a Ten of Swords, which can mean that Seven of Swords surfaces, something happens, and there is a leading directly into an ending. But what doesn't make sense to me is that if everything is working fine with the Six of Pentacles and the Lovers, if that is the I'm doing my part, they're doing their part thing, and things are working well, why is Seven of Swords here in the first place? I wonder if this is about like maybe wanting to get out of this for some reason. Because liberation can very much be the freeing yourself of something, but when we have that Seven of Swords there can be a particular way that that's being done, and it may not be a way that totally agrees with one's values potentially. I feel like I need to get more on this. Like, why is the Seven of Swords showing up here? Because if a Seven of Swords pops up, there is a purpose to it. Maybe that's not totally understood yet. I'm seeing Hanged Man. It can be an energy of, like, whoever's channeling the energy of Seven of Swords, it can be, like, ruining this, but at the same time, I feel like there's more to it than that. It's just not totally being exposed yet. I wonder if this is, like, wanting to do something but not being totally direct about that. I guess, too, another way that this can be surfacing is if we think about Seven of Swords as there being some type of thought confusion there. Hi. If we think of Seven of Swords as there being some type of thought confusion there, it can take something that's actually working well and functioning properly, where there's that harmonious dynamic there. Seven of Swords can be some type of thought disturbance that would be a destructive force, but kind of rides on the tail of confusion entering in, and then immediately having something happen. I feel like confusion is part of this, and this may be like thinking something or believing something or even thinking a certain way and that not being the real truth maybe in this situation. Seven of Swords is being clarified by Hanged Man, and Hanged Man can be things that we don't totally have right or things that are not totally straightforward. And then seeing a tower be there, I wonder if something is happening, and this can even be the collapse of something. Hanged Man can maybe be something being built that's not totally something that's being built that's not totally connected with truth here, or everything isn't like totally outright. I feel that more than anything. And then the tower can be the falling of that, or like Hanged Man can be maybe a fantasy about something, and the tower can be the dismantling of that. So Seven of Swords can be coming through, and it can be something that's not totally based in truth that's coming up. And Hanged Man can be whatever that was hiding behind, whatever was like the cover for it, and the tower feels like ripping that down. And in that happening, we have Eight of Wands, which is the direction that we go in, and then having Ten of Swords means something here happens. Feels like going straight into something that comes to a head there, but then is like done at that point. I'm actually seeing something else here. Hold on. I feel like it went away for a second. Let me bring this back. What this can mean too is that if you want, let's say that there isn't a particular, well, sure, there can be a particular relationship, but let's speak about relationships in general. With Six of Pentacles and the Lovers, this can be about wanting dynamics with people that feel like they're working, where everybody's sort of showing up and doing their part, which allows the relationship to continue and everyone to feel like happy and appreciated with it, and like it's working for them, everybody involved in it. So Six of Pentacles and the Lovers can represent that, okay? Seven of Swords may be ways that we do things that don't allow that to be happening. It can be ways that we sort of sabotage that from happening. Actually, sorry. I have paints that are out here and she's moving over towards them, but I think we might be all right. Don't lick them, please. Let me close this. Sorry, guys. Okay, we are safe. So yeah, this Six of Pentacles and the Lovers can represent these ideal situations that you would be in with people where, again, to say it for like the fifth time, it would be like, I'm doing my part, they're doing their part. It allows for the relationship to feel sustainable and like everybody's getting what they need and it feels good and you feel valued and they feel valued and all of that. Seven of Swords can be the things that we do that don't allow us to achieve that. So it can be things that we do where we sabotage actually those dynamics that we have, or we choose opposite than that, and that keeps us from having those situations happen and moving from. So it can be ways that I think come up that may divert us from actually realizing that and having these dynamics that we want. And what can really be happening here is that if we have the Seven of Swords, this can be maybe you realizing this and seeing this, like, I think that way and then this happens, or like sometimes I do find relationships where I feel like I have that and then I do something to it to sort of ruin it. It can be just realizing things like that, like ways that we can sabotage things, or ways that maybe it's not about. Sometimes it can be about like having the thing and sabotaging it. Other times it can be choosing the opposite of what would actually be sustainable and what we feel like we'd be happy with. And that's another way of like keeping us from realizing that. Because Seven of Swords is coming up, I wonder if maybe this is something where you're having Seven of Swords connected with that card of liberation can be you looking at this and seeing that and saying, oh, like I realize that I do this sometimes, or I realize sometimes I'm actively choosing the opposite of what I want. And so you can see where your shadow comes through and sort of misleads you and is guiding you in a wrong direction, like from a place of ignorance, because Seven of Swords can be things that we don't realize until we reflect on it and say, hey, I'm actively choosing against what it is that I want, or I'm neglecting what it is that I want. And having Seven of Swords come up here, I wonder if you're seeing this in some type of experience that you're having. And because you're seeing this, I wonder if this is pushing you to end that type of cycle. So you can be really exposing your shadow here and saying, I don't want to move that way that the shadow is going in. I want to move in the opposite direction of that. And if I do that, I'm going to be bringing something to an end. And what is that you're bringing to an end? This type of behavior. And it can be this way of thinking as well. So you can actually have the Lovers and the Six of Pentacles. So you can actually have that type of relationship that you want, where you feel happy with it because it's actually what you need, because it's aligned for you. And you can be really thinking about, like, what am I actually going to feel a sense of sustained happiness with if I choose that, and seeing where you don't choose that and where you can choose that. But also too, when we have the Seven of Swords, sometimes it speaks about things that come up that are sort of difficult for us to do, and so ways that we try to sort of get out of what we need to do, but we're trying to kind of achieve something simultaneously. And so I wonder if this is about needing to, like, face things head on and be direct and allow us to remove the cover of what would be keeping us from taking action in a way that would cultivate the relationships that we want. And that can really be what's happening here. That's kind of the feeling, more or less, that I get from this. Do you want to come down here? You want to come down here? Hi. You want to? Okay. So that's the feeling that I get from it. And I'm also seeing too, something else too, is that this can be ways that you're not totally direct about your values with other people too, where you can have dynamics and you see that it could, like, work in certain ways, or that you have certain things that are important, or maybe some things that you don't want to do, or some things that you do want to do, or some things that you're, like, looking for or wanting. And this can be ways that you're not direct about that as well. Why I'm saying that is because having Neptune clarifying Seven of Swords feels like ways of, like, maybe actually avoiding taking action, and it can be from not truly reflecting on this, and then being in situations where you're like, this isn't what I wanted, or this is what I want, but then sort of don't follow through on it, or don't choose that in some way. And this can be the end of that. Maybe you're seeing this and being like, I don't want to be navigating from this point of view of my shadow anymore, because I feel like it's keeping me from the type of relationship that I really want, that I would ultimately feel happy with, that I would ultimately feel like it's a source of sustained joy or fulfillment or connection within my life. And we are seeing Four of Wands on the bottom of the deck, so I feel like this is about things that you keep, like, regularly within your life. And it can be primary relationships as well that this is centered around. Also too, something that I was seeing flipping out that just felt like it kind of fell out was, I was seeing Justice, and thinking about that connected with Seven of Swords. This can be, if we think about the shadow of Libra, which, if you have a lot of 7th house placements or Libra placements, or even Venus, what you can find happens at times is, you may not like to cause waves. Like, you may want everybody to really get along, and sometimes you may not, like, totally speak your truth here. You may make decisions that are avoiding certain consequences because of not wanting to cause waves at times. And so that can also be something that sort of gets in the way of ultimately what you would feel works within your life. It can be like, you know, that shadow Libra can be like, well, I was thinking it, but I didn't want to hurt their feelings, or I didn't really like that, but I didn't say anything to them. But then you, like, go and turn to your friend and say that. It feels like needing to be direct about this, if that is something that you relate to as it is connected with this, or like, what are other people gonna think if I make this choice for myself? That can also be a thing too. And it can also be too, like, wanting to avoid burning bridges, but then not speaking up for yourself, not being honest, totally honest and totally transparent about things too, or like fearing that happening. I think like fearing maybe consequences of you really honoring how it is that you feel and think and what it is that you want and your true values, and really going for that. Because when we clarified Seven of Swords, having Hanged Man come out and then having Tower come out after it, it feels again like any veil that you would be using actively, again, like whether we realize it or not, that would keep you from taking direct action in the way that you want to. Because Mars is all about that. Mars is a punchy energy where you go and grab what you want, you go and seize what you want, you go straight for it, for what it is that you want. And this can be all the ways that you don't do that. It can be all the ways that Neptune sort of dissipates that energy, and then you feel like an impotent Mars energy, which then it's like not going to be effective, and then it feels like you're not going for the things that you really want, and you can feel like you're actively doing the opposite of that. And I feel too like this can be very connected with just the Mars retrograde that's happening, where you can be thinking about these things that you do. Mars is about how you go after what you want, how you seize what you want, being direct about the things that you want to go for. I think allowing yourself to overcome obstacles, and also working through conflict too. That's also part of it too, and being bold in the approach that you're taking, or at least direct in the approach that you're taking, rather than maybe trying to accomplish what you want in some convoluted type of way. This feels like not hiding from yourself and what feels like it fits for you, and about what it is ultimately that you're choosing by how it is that you're showing up. And I think too, the way that you're thinking about things, because Seven of Swords can be ways that we think about things where we feel like that's the way to do things, but we may not be being totally honest with ourselves, and we need to reflect on that, because it can actually be keeping us from what we want. Because you know when things click for you, you know when things feel right for you, and you know that feeling of relief when things are just that compatibility and they feel easy. When things resonate and they work, and the things that we do to maybe like do the opposite of that, or even like abandon that and being like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I actually feel like this is a major revelation that you're having here, where you're in some type of situation that has brought this aspect of you forward, and you can bring light to it, you can shed light on that, which allows you to see what's going on, and then it allows you to have choice that you didn't have before, because there's awareness there now, and it allows you to stop sabotaging in ways that you had been, but you may have been unaware that you were doing it. So I'm actually seeing this Ten of Swords be a great thing. Ten of Swords can be difficult because it can be challenging to end habits and ways of doing things that we're used to. At the same time, it is something ultimately that liberates you from this type of cycle, and it allows you to actually realize what it is that you want. And then you can feel like, wow, things in my life, this feels like it's working. This feels stable. I feel comfortable within this, in a way that it feels healthy, in a way that it feels good, in a way that it feels like things are together, that sort of belong together as well, and that being part of this. It's like things feeling like they're in right order, and this being the thing that will achieve that, by seeing things that you're doing that are the opposite. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.